My 11 Circle presents Cricbuzz Live. Now, when it comes to different cultures, different cities being represented in this particular tournament, you also know that every city has different cuisines. And one particular individual, Rohit Sharma, has always said he loves Bengali food, he loves the culture, and he likes to feast on everything Bengali. And he did exactly that today, even though it was from a takeout place in Abu Dhabi. But he did that. He scored yet again against this franchise, and he's laid the foundation for an excellent total of 195 for 5. It looked at one time, it could have been even 210 or 220. A few overs in between, they pull things back, but that Rohit Sharma foundation has been enough to make it an imposing total. Imposing enough? That's the question I'm going to put to my panel out there. Simon Doull, you've been there, you've seen the dew, and you've seen the explosive potential of the Kolkata batting lineup. Is this enough?
If they play well, no. I'd say that they can chase it down. It's not easy to bowl in these sorts of conditions. We saw last night after the game, the ball that was used in the Rajasthan-Chennai game was like a piece of soap. And talking to Jofra Archer about it as well, he said exactly the same thing. It was so wet and so hard to control and hold on to. I don't expect that's any different in Abu Dhabi this evening. So they're going to have to bowl very well. It's going to be tough for the spinners. And at the back end of the innings, as long as you've got wickets in hand, and with KKR, wickets in hand, let's say Russell is still there or Owen Morgan is still there, they've got Dinesh Karthik to finish off, even 12 to 14 runs and over for the last 5 or 6 is eminently possible. So they've got to stay in the game, stay in the chase, and as long as they can leave themselves maybe 12 to 14 in the last 5-6 overs, it is certainly possible with wickets in hand.
Whether or not their batsmen do the job, Joy, the fact is they had a few problems in the bowling department. Fortunately, they had 6 bowlers to turn to, and they could have options. Andre Russell came back with an excellent over at the death, which meant that Pat Cummins could not bowl his quota of 4 overs. And the 3 he bowled, well, meant that it was probably an over that you didn't want him to bowl.
No, absolutely. I think it's been a rude awakening for Pat, and it's interesting because he's not rusty. Of all the players, he's been playing international cricket, and it's just interesting. I think the main issue is, and somebody alluded to it, which is that the kind of length that he's trying to bowl perhaps are not most suited for pitches like this. So instead of really coming at the batsman, they're sort of sitting up and waiting to be hit. And it didn't help that people like Rohit and all are brilliant players in the full. He literally can't. From where he stands, he can deliver that. So there's a lot of times when Pat tried to cramp them for room, and Rohit and Hardik hit him off their body. And that for them is a big thing. I mean, it was somehow he tried to adjust. And I think once the pressure gets to you, once you've given away 15, 16 run over, you're trying to make up for it, then you're always chasing the game. And when you're chasing the game, it's never easy.
Simon, we alluded to it already, but were his lengths closest to his wallet? Is that going to be a problem for Pat Cummins?
Well, I was trying to work it out, actually. What are we talking? We're talking about 2.2 million US, weren't we? So that's, what, $158,000 per game. 18 deliveries tonight. $8,700 per ball. He's not really repaying the favour, is he, at the moment? Lengths were the problem. Biggest issue for him tonight was just getting that length right. In England, in Australia, where the pitches are slightly harder, you can bowl that back of a length and cramp the batsman in on the leg stump, maybe hit it into their hip, and cramp them for room, because it's coming on quickly. It's not as easy to play that sort of pull shot, that swivel pull shot. On these slower type surfaces, it just sits up. It's too easy. So he's got to be prepared to be driven a little bit more, get the ball slightly fuller, more of a test match length on these particular pitches, and maybe set a field one side when he starts to fall away, and it's what happened to him tonight, falling away a little bit and angling the ball, and just continued to angle in towards leg stump, and it was just cannon fodder. So not a good outing. He will improve. He'll be better for it. But at $8,700 a ball tonight, I'd expect him to be better.
Yeah, if you bring that back to crores, Joy, for our audience, I think the economy rate he went for was very close to the number of crores. 15.3, I think he went for, and his economy was 16 today.
He was basically making about 2.5-3 lakhs a ball if he goes at this rate. I mean, that's actually the calculation you look at, 2.5-3 lakh Indian rupees a ball. I think the basic issues, again, there was a very interesting part of it when he actually bought his field up, bought mid-on and mid-off up, and wanted to cramp the batsman up. And if you remember Rohit, I think it was Rohit who hit him over his head, hit him over the mid-on's head. It was, and immediately Karthik went up to him and said, "No, push them back. You, at this point in time, the way you're bowling, you will not be able to maintain that field up." And that's interesting because it is a thing that somewhere in his head, perhaps those lens have not adjusted. Like Pat Cummins, though, is a very thinking, very cerebral cricketer. He'll go back, he'll see tape, he'll do this, he'll come back stronger. He's not the kind of guy, he's not a crybaby. He's very, very thoughtful about his game, spends time, analyzes it. So he'll go back, he'll look at it and say, no, I can't bowl this way. And what happens is when you first get sucked into a match, you just naturally go with what you were doing previously. He'll now have time to go back, think about it, and then very consciously do something different. But right now, this will not make pretty viewing. He's going to go back to his room and watch it. It will not be pretty viewing.
But you've got to give credit where it's due. Whatever Pat Cummins might have conceded, it was in fact Rohit Sharma who stole the show, and it is an opposition he likes. I might have alluded to the Bengali cuisine. It was a full feast, right from the starters up to the mishti doi at the end. He feasted on everything. He didn't get 100 today. He's done that in the past, but it was really a treat to watch. And it is, in fact, the numbers do back up the fact that he's scored more runs against this opposition than anyone has against a particular opposition. And that is making a statement.
Yeah, it's the sort of thing you find as a player when you go to certain grounds or come up against certain oppositions, when you've had success against them before, those the adrenaline levels are high, but also there's an air of calmness about you because you know you've been successful. And that's exactly what Rohit Sharma has done against Kolkata. You look at the runs tonight, you add those to the runs. He's been the most successful batsman against that franchise in IPL history. He just feels comfortable. It actually doesn't matter what their team changes to or the changes of personnel. He just sees that sort of purple. What is it? Is it Joy? Is it purple, maroon? What do we call it now?
Purple. Yeah. Don't say maroon. Purple and gold.
I was going to say mauve, maroon. I don't really know. But as soon as he sees that purple colour, he feels relaxed. He feels calm, and he knows he's going to score runs almost every time. And you have those feelings as a player when you turn up to grounds, certain venues, where you just sit down and you think, "Oh, this feels good. I've had success here before. I'm good. I'm all right. I don't need to worry about it today."
I've got to ask Rohit if he likes that old song by the man once known as Prince called "Purple Rain." Purple rain. Purple rain. I'm going to be shot for my rendition of it, but yes, yeah. I'll stop. I've stopped already. But honestly, as Simon said, sometimes you just look at a particular color and a particular opposition, and it's not just the ground. We used to talk about him liking the Eden Gardens. I think it's not only Eden Gardens; it's the opposition.
Yeah, I think he finds a remarkable way. He finds ways to relax himself, and it's interesting because you can make out that he's struggling with his fitness. He's trying to come back into proper fitness. He was really huffing and puffing. And a lot of people, and mind you, he was not puffing in his 70s and 60s. He was puffing in his 30s, 40s, and 50s. The fact that he managed to keep it together and stated he was 80, I think was credit. At any point in that where he was looking, every time he took a run, he sat down. You felt he's just going to go there and start whacking now and, just what they call, just swing. He didn't do that. He stuck around till he was 80, and therefore he made sure that 195, it wasn't at 180. It may not have become a 220, but it was a 195, and that's much better than a 180, and he stuck around there. So give him credit. He's amazing cricketer, and obviously he loves KKR.
Yes, he certainly does. But you've got to give credit at the end to both Mavi and Russell for the way they finished off, because Pollard could easily have done a Jofra and a better than Jofra and made it really unpleasant. But we also want your feedback, your questions. And as we said, you've been doing it on #AskCricBuzzLive. And one of the questions we had today, let's bring that up for you because it's been pending as a point of discussion. And this obviously refers to what happened yesterday. And it is playing to protect net run rate when you know loss is imminent in a tournament like this, equivalent or proportional to playing for draw in a test series or a test match. Interesting one. That's coming from KK, not KKR, but KK. We just call you KK for the moment. Kupra Kesri or Kupra Kesri.
Yeah, I was at the game last night. It was perplexing at times. The run chase from Chennai Super Kings. And I asked MS Dhoni afterwards why he didn't promote himself up the order and come in a little bit earlier. And he was quite open about it. He said, look, I haven't played any cricket in the last 14, 15 months. These guys have played a little bit more than I have lately, so I wanted to give them an opportunity. We wanted to try some things out. What I will say about T20 cricket is we've seen so many games over time, Gautam, Joy, that you think are gone. They're lost, they're dead and buried. And then they get up and they win. So I don't know whether there's any game that is imminently lost along the way until it's actually, more than 36 off the last over. There's so often we see games that just, that game, RCB game the other night, the Delhi Capitals game, you just thought at any one stage they could never win that game or they could never lose that game, but they find a way. And this is what this ridiculous game that we all love does to us time and time again. So I think you're always playing to win. You're never really playing for that little bonus point or that net run rate point just to get you closer. This tournament may come down to it, but if you're starting to play for it at this early stage, then you are in trouble.
Yeah, I know we've done that to death yesterday, Joy, but just to finish up on the point, Simon makes a good point. Yes, MSD has his full right to say that he held himself back, but there were still moments there where if they had maybe pushed or stepped on the gas a little bit earlier, as he's always saying.
No, I completely, and I'm sure that, Simon is obviously, since he asked the question, it was because he had a doubt about this yesterday. That's why he asked the question. But the basic point is you cannot allow it to go to 38 in the last over. If it was 26 in the last over and he started swinging 2 overs before, and he still gave himself 7-8 balls maybe, and then tried to hit sixes and it came to 26 in the last over, I could still understand the strategy. Okay. And the reason why we ask these questions is because we have extremely high standards of MS Dhoni as a finisher. I mean, there are only about 3 or 4 games where he's been on the crease and they're finished and not won. And he's been not out. So it's a very, very rare occurrence. It's something that you're not used to with Dhoni. It happened a couple of times, last year or a couple of years before. But that's the thing. It's because we hold him to those standards and we wonder it's also a matter of timing. When do you time your chase? When do you start actually whacking it? Now, he always seemed to trick us because he always seemed to know. We always thought it was too late and he always did it. Now he's not. And that's why we are asking.
Yeah. The exact figure is 8 times total in history when he's been there, and they've been on the wrong side. But this is one team you probably won't expect that to happen. If they are to go down, they'll probably go down dismissed in the 17th over, but you won't see them found wanting. And with that 5, 6, and 7 we referred to, I think they will come to the party with a run chase like this, Simon.
Yeah, that's very powerful through that middle order, and I think that's the one thing that they have got in their favour. And it depends on which way they go with it, where they want to back Russell, where they want to back Owen Morgan, where they want to back Karthik. Nickel Naik is obviously that cover that we talked about. Pat Cummins can hit the ball, but they are going to need a start. And if by a start, Narayan doesn't need to get 50. Narayan needs to get 25-30, because if he gets 25-30, he gets it off 9, 10, 11 balls, and that gives you the opportunity to get that fast start. It allows Shubman Gill to just be a little more circumspect at the top. So Narayan's job is not 50s, 60s, 70s. It's to create a 250 to 300 strike rate in the first 2 to 3 overs. And if he goes on, that's a bonus. That's a massive bonus. So to me, his main job is that 250 to 300 strike rate. First 9, 10 balls be 25-30 and get the team off to a flying start. Allow the likes of Shubman Gill to just play his natural game.
I was going to tell Simon he should get 50. He's my 11 circle captain, Sunil Narayan. But anyway, let's not make it personal. Joy, Andre Russell, big factor here. We've seen what he's able to do in those last 3 or 4 overs. Not that you want to leave it that late.
Yeah, I think my belief is that even if KKR, it's 14-15 in the last 5, they'll fancy their chances. If Russell is around, they have, mind you, Russell is around, and don't count out one of the finest hitters of the game has been Owen Morgan. Owen Morgan is a devastating T20 batsman. So, when you're saying Andre Russell, don't get me wrong. Morgan has done things with the bat which very few people have seen in the cricket field. So, he is capable of doing that. Dinesh Karthik is a known finisher. So, look, that's the plus point they have. Sunil Narayan, go play your game. If it doesn't work, let the other guys do their job. And towards the end, we've got the firepower to finish. So, it's a good team that way. They don't have very strong 3s or 4s unless Morgan plays in that position. But they've got, very, very strong opening, and they've got a very strong late middle order.
All right, I'm going to kill two birds with one stone here because remember, we didn't have a My 11 Circle badge of honor thanks to the Mumbai Indians exceeding the number of runs we all thought. So what we've got to do is try and get it back in the second innings. Score prediction at the end of the sixth over. Simon, two questions for you. We want your score, and in one word, I want you to answer, will dew be a factor or not? You've seen it.
Second question, yes. First question, 53 for 1.
All right, Joy.
I'm going to low ball this time. I'm going to go 46.
Okay.
One venture of wickets.
All right, I'm just being an optimist for Sunil Narayan. I'm going higher, an even 60. An even 60. 10 and over. Never mind how many wickets they lose, an even 60. Let's see what happens. It's all to play for. The My 11 Circle badge of honor. That's been our halfway mark discussion. Lots to chat about. So much to chat about at the end of the game. But we will be back halfway through in the 10th over with Cricbuzz Combox. We'll see you then. This has been another mid-innings show on My 11 Circle presents Cricbuzz Live.